I'd like to call the meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Laws of 1975, this meeting has been duly advertised in the Asbury Park Press, issue of May 18, 2015. All municipal clerks of townships and boroughs within the Regional High School District have been duly notified, and the requirements of posting and notices have been met. Okay, approval of the minutes. Mr. Boyce? You don't have any? Okay, communications are on file. Board office. Report, superintendent's report.
We're going to open up this evening with the presentation for the Teen Driver Safety Award. Is Cassidy here? We're now going to move into agenda item number 2 on my report. Cassidy, perfect timing. As everyone here, I believe, knows, the district sponsors a Teen Driver Safety Banner Contest each year. And what that is a selection is made from each of the 6 high schools, and the Board of Education members actually vote on the winner. This year's winner is Cassidy Kimmel, who's a 10th grader from Manalapan High School. It is the 2nd year in a row that Manalapan High School has taken home the prize. I think Dr. Angelosi is like soliciting artistic folks. So Cassidy, you're in great company, and I know that her mom and dad are here as well this evening. So thank you for coming out. What we end up doing with this is it flies in our gymnasiums in all 6 high schools, and then we used to mount them here, but we've had some painting. So it's something that everyone will see for the next school year, and really just to promote the awareness of distracted driving under the influence, and all the things that with 6 high schools, with somewhere around 3,000 new drivers every school year, it's something that we take here very seriously, and we actually have I think a terrific program that educates both parents and students about the dangers of distracted driving. So I would like to call Cassidy and her parents up, and we'll present the banner. Dr. Moore? Okay, just a few other items from my report. Obviously, it's June 8th. The year is flying by. We're winding down. The end-of-year celebrations are in full force throughout the 6 high schools. Between our academic awards dinners, our athletic awards dinners, and various luncheons and such, it's a busy couple of weeks. I think I'm scheduled to be at 3 functions tomorrow evening. So we have a lot, and it's like that every night for the next couple of weeks. So it's the best time of the year for high schools. Folks are winding down in a real positive sense. Happy to say we barely had one day over 90 degrees so far in June. I may have just jinxed it, but it just makes it all that much more bearable in the schools. Just a few odds and ends. We hosted a informational session for the redesigned PSAT, SAT last week at Marlboro High School, 2 weeks ago at Marlboro High School, and Ms. Howell helped coordinate that, our Director of Guidance and Operations. But we had over 800 parents show up to that, so it was something we did for the first time. I will go on record saying that I thought hundreds would come. I will also go on record saying that some folks disagreed with me. 800 came. It's something that I think was very interesting, something our parents and our students were obviously incredibly interested in. And the gentleman that we had from the College Board was phenomenal, breaking it down for parents, and I think making some of those changes easy to understand. We also had the opportunity a couple weeks back to attend the Basie Awards at the Count Basie Theater in Red Bank. And if you don't know what the Basies are, what the Basie Theater does each year is it recognizes all the artistic talent that Monmouth County brings to bear. So folks from the Basies go out to all of the performances and productions across Monmouth County. And I think at this point in time, over 30 schools were represented there. And it is terrific. What they end up doing is the nominated productions all perform one act from their performance. And so it's just sort of a feel-good evening with all the high school students who've put so much time into these productions. It's great to see so many phenomenal productions, but it was, from the Freehold Regional High School District standpoint, we were nominated in so many different categories. But Freehold High School actually, I think, had the most nominations of our 6 high schools here, somewhere around 17. So if you put that in perspective, and it's wonderful to see our students up there on stage performing for the entire county throughout all 6 of our high schools with some of the performances that we put together. And then on last Monday evening, we had our annual State of the Schools evening, which occurred in this room. And we tried something really different this year. We felt that last year we did this very serious, somber presentation of all the things that this school district does so well. And then when we went back and we sort of reflected on the evening, we came to realize that it really shouldn't be about us talking about what we do, and it should really be student-driven. And so let's show folks, our actual students, and some of the work that they've done over the course of the year. And so what we did is we funneled the evening through the 4 C's of modern learning, so creativity, communication, collaboration, and critical thinking. And then we highlighted student work from each of the 6 high schools that represented one of those 4 C's. And then the 5th C that brought the evening together was community, which is obviously a major driving force of our strategic plan, our community partnerships. But we had some phenomenal artwork on display, some of our service learning projects, our architecture class where kids designed a mini golf course, a 3D printer where students were creating dragons and building robots that sorted Skittles by color, and some of the just really unique programs and student work. Our Model Congress that won the state championship this year in New Jersey. So just a real broad spectrum of the things that students do day in and day out in our 6 high schools. And it was definitely, it had a little bit of a modern edge to it, so there was a whole lot of noise in the room, and it took us one cycle through to sort of acclimate and make it work. But we also wanted to model for our students and our parents that it's okay to take risk, and it's okay to really push the envelope with what you're trying to do instructionally in the classroom and what we expect of students here. And so, we put our money where our mouth was and really tried an evening that was a little bit different than I think most of what those presentations look like, and it worked pretty well at the end of it. So we were happy with it. And if you haven't seen it, our annual report is up on the website. And then finally, June 11th, this Thursday, we have our new teacher meet and greet, and if you remember in years past, one of the things that we like to do, folks hire new faculty and staff members, and then they go off in the summer and they come in for a new teacher orientation. They have a couple days where they get acclimated to the school district, and we've always felt, why wouldn't you start that onboarding process before the summer commences so these folks can really be thinking about what the expectations are in the school district here in the Freehold Regional High School District. So we developed a day where our new faculty and staff come to the board office on June 11th It's usually sort of a little presentation that I do. Mr. Moses, as the board president, addresses the new faculty and staff. And then last year we started incorporating, again, to keep the focus on students. Christopher, you'll remember this well. Our executive student cabinet members to the superintendent actually had a part in the day in the onboarding with the new staff where they present to the staff what's important to them as students in the school district and what's really impactful for them as kids in this system. And we thought that was a powerful piece, and so what we've done now is we've sort of dovetailed the evening where the new faculty and staff comes in, the executive student cabinet members present to those folks, and then next year's executive cabinet members meet with the outgoing members, and they sort of have their own initial meeting where they pass the torch that evening as well. So it's a really sort of a symbolic evening on all fronts. I thank Dr. Hazel for Dr. Hazel is able to plan clearly whatever comes out of our head, and get it done well. So it's an awful lot of work to pull it off. So we're excited for June 11th. And we have a board meeting June 22nd, obviously, but graduation is on the horizon. One of the things we did do this year differently is for the first time we've staggered graduation. So 3 of our schools are at 4 p.m. and 3 of our schools are at 6 p.m. We did that because, believe it or not, we have a high number of twins and triplets in multiple high schools in this district in our different academies and magnet programs. So we tried to stagger it as best as possible so folks could see both of their children, in many cases, in one case, all 3 of their children, if they can make it, graduate. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Sampson. Board reports, curriculum and instruction.
Just finance tonight.
Just finance tonight? Okay, finance then?
Okay. We had a meeting back on May 21st, and there were really 2 topics that we covered. The first one was food service, and the second one was overview at ESIP. And with respect to food service, we went over some of the payroll and benefit metrics involved with what Pomptonian and the food service workers are bargaining over, because as everyone recalls, at our last meeting, there were a lot of employees here along with their union representative. And so we got an overview of the negotiations between Pomptonian and the workers. And again, this was, and I've said this before, this was the first year where Michelle Obama's regulations are negatively impacting a la carte sales. So that comes into the finances of the situation. We also talked about the proposed menu prices for next year. And I'm going to go off track here, but staying on the subject, somehow I ended up in the library last week, and I had time to kill. I picked up this newspaper, the Princeton Packet, and there was an article in there. This is about 2 weeks ago, and I don't know whether it was a Princeton Township school or some other township in the Princeton area, and they had an article, and you could, word for word, just substituted Princeton Township schools for Freehold Regional. The same exact issues that we have, that the employees brought up last time, are in other places too. So I just want everyone to know this isn't just some Freehold Regional issue where there's conflict between the employer and the employee. So no, it was a different company. It was a small privately held company. But if you would have put Pomptonian in for that company, it was the same story. So not specific to this district. And then getting back to ESIP, there were 2 phases to it. With respect to the first phase, the roof at Marlborough is substantially done. With respect to Freehold Borough, a majority of that is done with the exception of a small section. And with respect to roof replacements at the other schools, the preliminary work is starting on those schools. And with respect to HVAC, Freehold Township, Manalapan, and Howell, the boiler work there is going very well. So when all is said and done, if we look at phase 1 of HVAC, we're off to a good start on all the work. With respect to phase 2, everyone may recall that maybe 2 meetings ago we had to reject the bids for that because the work was, it was just too high. And we went over the budget for the capital program and what the actual costs have been. We examined Sean's detailed analysis of the cost and the energy savings for the second phase of the HVAC work. And then finally, Sean just said that there's some thought going into how the finance department wants to integrate itself into the district's website. And that's what we talked about.
Any questions?
I'd just like to thank Sean Boyce for, the ESIP has been a bear for 3 years for us now, and it's continuing to shift as we move forward. So managing that and staying on top of that is not an easy task.
Okay, next we come to public participation. We have one name on the sheet, Dan Hoffman from Freehold. Hi. Sure. Or wherever you're comfortable.
I came here to basically give an underlying issue. I'm from Freehold Borough. My son is a senior, and this is just another player from the baseball team that was on the team last year. There's an underlying issue that's going on with Coach Block, who is the head of the baseball team. He runs all from varsity all the way down to freshmen.
Thank you, Mr. Howard. Appreciate it.
You guys gonna look into that, or are you just gonna?
Typically, playing time is determined by a varsity coach, and you know, I appreciate your frustration, Mr. Hoffman. We'll look into it, but when a head coach makes a determination over who plays, there is a sharp distinction between a recreation program and a varsity sport, and playing time is not guaranteed in a varsity sport. So, at face value, investigating the determination of playing time, if there was some untoward action or some sort of discriminatory act, those are the types of things that we would look into as a school district.
But as a coach, he did his job, in my opinion. He did not help my son improve his skills so he's able to play.
I appreciate that, but it's not a public. Mr. Block isn't here to defend whatever his practices are or policies, and I'm sure he'll be able to. He'll defend those as he sees fit, but it's not appropriate for me to weigh in about what Mr. Block does or doesn't do publicly because I'm not there every day in practice. That's a conversation to be had.
Well, I will tell you one thing, though, and I'm going to leave right now because, obviously you guys have to do what you got to do, but I will spend every moment of my time to make sure he does not coach in the borough. Sorry, I can't have this to my son and to other kids and kids that maybe, you're going to ruin their lives and their careers. I mean, look at what the man has. I feel so bad for him. He's someone who's a major league player. He's an awesome kid. He just destroyed him and the other kids as well. And it's a shame because I'm sure he's a great coach, but he's just destroying too many kids' lives. And you guys all know that as educators too. I mean, it's like you put a kid off in the classroom who just he's not up to par in the class. You just set him off to the side, wait till end of the year till he can move on. That's basically what he's doing. And it's a shame. It really is. So, that's all I got. I hope something's done.
Agenda items, Mr. Boyce? Just one addition to the agenda, and also one correction. The correction under section G12, approval of leave of absences, the date range for Robin Schechter should read June 2nd, 2015 through June 8th, 2015. And then also we have an addendum J22, which reads, be it resolved that the Freehold Regional High School District Board of Education approves settlement agreement number 1415-11 on file in the Office of Special Services. And that's all I have.
Okay, next up is the agenda, which goes from G1 to K3 with J22, the addendum. I'd like to take that in one shot, please.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion? Seeing none. Mr. Boyce?
Mr. Acetola?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mrs. Canario?
Yes on all but the minutes from the last meeting.
There are no minutes being offered.
Okay.
Mr. Carollo?
Yes.
Mrs. Fankhauser?
Yes, except on items G6 and G15. I'm going to abstain on any appointments having to do with the Colts Neck High School football and soccer team because of my son's participation in those sports.
Mrs. Lavin?
Yes.
Mr. Messinger?
Yes.
Ms. Sutera?
Yes.
Mr. Moses?
Yes. Okay, Mr.
Yeah, just a few. I'd like to recognize two individuals in the room who were just approved. So Maria Peters, I saw Maria earlier. Stand up, Maria. Maria is going to be the new supervisor of special education at Colts Neck High School. Maria comes to us with many years of district-level supervisory experience from the Wall Public Schools. We're looking forward to her starting August 19th at Colts Neck High School. We spoke to the folks over there who raved about Maria's work ethic and her understanding of special ed law and her organization and really being able to stay. She's presently based in all schools, so this will be I don't want to use the term smaller job, but a more focused job for her, and we expect great things. So welcome aboard, Maria. We are also appointing, and Jim, forgive me if I butcher this, but Aquavia? Yes. Jim Aquavia, and Jim comes to us as the new supervisor of English and Language Arts for Howe High School. Jim was previously the high school supervisor for the Montclair Public Schools, as LA supervisor, and he's been the 6 through 12 supervisor at West Orange Public Schools, was prior to that the K-8 supervisor, so he's got many years of K through 12 English language arts experience. Came to us very highly recommended by folks that we know well and respect their work. And Jim's also going to be starting on August 19th at Howe High School, and we'd like to welcome Jim aboard. That is it, Mr. Moses.
Okay, well, before we close the meeting, just want to say, new business, old business. At the moment, business, 1-1, United States against Australia. God bless the United States women's soccer team. So shall you say, so shall it be written. Oh, excuse me. Can we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
So moved. Thank you. All those in favor? Can we second it? No reason to drag this out. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.